Potion Permit, developed by Mass Hive Media, is a sim-life RPG in the tradition of Stardew Valley. However, instead of taking on the role of a new farmer, ingratiating yourself in small-town life, you're a chemist who has to use their considerable medical knowledge to help the town's inhabitants, and maybe, just maybe, open their hearts in the process. You see, the town of Moonbury has closed itself off from the outside world, wary of the inflow of technological advances after a disaster damaged the island's ecosystem in the past. But when the mayor's daughter falls ill and their own techniques can't cure her, the mayor takes the chance of asking the medical association for help. Their solution? To send you, a novice chemist, to cure the mayor's daughter and rebuild the fractured relationship between Moonbury and the capital. After a chilly reception from Moonbury's inhabitants, you're given a rundown house and a clinic to conduct your business. This is where you start to make a name for yourself and slowly change the villagers' views of outsiders. But it won't be easy, because not everyone is open to the idea of change. If you've played any of these sim-life games, or cozy games as they're often called, like My Time at Portia, Stardew Valley, or Animal Crossing, then you'll know what to expect. Potion Permit tries, and mostly succeeds, in providing its own take on the genre, but the basics remain the same. You get to know the town and its inhabitants early on, while the basic pacing aims for a slow, measured approach to revealing all of its stories. The gameplay loop, well, mostly simple, establishes a sort of calming, zen-like rhythm early on, as you'll be doing the same basic actions throughout, with perhaps a tad too much grinding. Yet it's always engaging. The game asks you to hang up your guns, and put away your need to rush from one set piece to the next, and just sit back, relax, and take your time with a rewarding if languid journey. That pacing is the crux of Potion Permit's playstyle. The languid pace of a small-town life, where everyone seeks to know everyone else's business, making for a close-knit community that you have to break into. It's a familiar, but great setup, as where Potion Permit really shines is in its story, both in the main narrative and the optional interactions with Moonbury's inhabitants. While their lines of dialogue may feel limited at any given moment, the larger narrative arcs are all intriguing and satisfying to witness, but you'll have to befriend each of these inhabitants before you can see their tales, but it really is worth it, whether you're helping a waitress learn to cook better, or trying to decide if the arcade owner is a relic thief in disguise. Potion Permit makes yanking on each of those unraveling narrative threads worth it. Oh, and if you want to, you can romance some of the inhabitants as well. Talking gameplay, there's the typical farming and grinding aspect, in which you have to run about nature, chopping down trees, harvesting plants, and breaking rocks to secure crafting resources and potion ingredients. There are some light combat mechanics, using the same tools with which you harvest resources to fight the island's more aggressive wildlife or even more ingredients. You can roll to avoid attacks and swing whichever tool you have equipped at the moment, which costs you stamina, whether you're fighting or harvesting. Naturally, these activities take up the bulk of your playtime, and you have to harvest resources just about every day if you want to avoid wasting time. Thankfully, the island seems blessed with magical flora and fauna, as they respawn every day, including fully grown trees. When you're not doing those things, you're going to have to deal with the patients in your rundown clinic. You do this by first diagnosing the patients in a series of simple mini-games, such as pressing the correct button combination at the right time, which reveals what's ailing them and what potion you need to brew. And you'll be spending a lot of time looking at your cauldron in another puzzle-based minigame to brew potions. You see, potions can be created from a variety of recipes, and the brewing process plays out as a simple shape-filling minigame. Occasionally, some potions can only be created from a rare ingredient, and the minigame puzzles become larger and slightly more complicated as your recipe list grows, but it was never an issue to figure out where each ingredient shape fit on the recipe layout. More traditional crafting resources, think wood and stone, are spent on upgrading your clinic, your home, and all your tools. The only downside is that the cost to upgrade your equipment is pretty steep. As you open up more areas of the island, which are locked behind quests and a badge level, you'll gain access to more ingredients that take even longer to harvest if your equipment isn't up to snuff. That means you'll spend more stamina cutting down one daffodil than you should, which means you harvest less per day, until you grind enough to improve your gear. You get the picture. Now, I've got this far, and I better not forget to mention your good boy, Nox. Your dog goes with you everywhere, and you can build up your trust with him by petting him and feeding him, which you should, as if you don't, he drags behind you, shaking all the time like he's on his last legs. Even if you're a heartless cat lover, you'll want to keep Nox happy, as his outstanding ability is to lead you to specific NPCs when you need to find someone quickly. Now, Potion Permit is a gorgeous slice of isometric 2D art. There's a beautiful level of detail present in all the environments, from your rundown house to the local police station. As a result, the world of Potion Permit feels lived in, and you can get an idea of the personalities of each inhabitant by simply looking through their rooms and workplaces. Vegetation sways in the breeze, birds cluster on railings and fly away from you, ducks glide across lakes, dipping under to feed. Everything and everyone is wonderfully animated. The only downside to this little game is that there are slight hitches when playing, and I feel as though the resource requirements could have been lowered somewhat. Just upgrading my cauldron and clinic to their first level took a solid in-game week of resource grinding. Now, money is relatively easy to come by, as you can sell potions or engage in little work minigames like box packaging, but harvesting wood and mining stone for upgrades just takes far too long. Overall, Potion Permit may not necessarily surprise you with how its story unfolds, but this is one game where it's about the journey and not the destination. If you allow yourself some downtime from busier games, and invest in befriending Moonbury's inhabitants, you'll find a relaxing and sublime experience that'll keep you hooked throughout its runtime, with a contented smile on your face all the way.